of times we work more toward the mobility side to open the hips and get them loose. A lot of us have tight hips, so one of the things that is important when building flexibility and mobility is to have the same amount of stability and strength in those same muscle groups. So today I'm going to show you a couple of little exercises that you can do. You can either link them together like I'm going to do, or you can separate them out as individual exercises. You're going to start in a downward facing dog. So coming into a comfortable stance for your down dog. And then whether your heels touch the mat or not is not super important. So if your heels aren't touching, maybe you bend your knees a little bit so you take a little bit of that strain out of the back of the leg. And then try to relax the front body into the down dog. And then in your first down dog or second down dog, if you need to warm up, see if you could imagine pulling the lower half of the quad muscle up into the hip flexor. So the energetic action moves up and into the pelvis. And then the hamstrings continue that move up and the outer hip pulls in. So here you're just learning to kind of flex those muscles in a position where you're bearing weight, but you're bearing weight equally. So front to back. And once you feel pretty stable here, you're going to walk maybe that right foot in the center line. And as you inhale, you're just going to start to pull that left foot up and back behind you, pointing down with the toes and pressing back through the heel of the foot. You should feel some engagement through your abdomen, so through your core. You're going to try and move some of that engagement into that left glute and outer right hip. So you should feel the outer right hip engaged and the glute in the left leg. And then maybe you stay there for a few breaths. The next time you inhale, you're going to take that left hip and stack it over top of the right. So it looks like they're stacking one on top of the other. You're going to keep pressing out of that left heel. And then when you exhale, you're going to engage through those quad muscles and start to pull that heel using the strength of the glute in toward that right side. And then when you inhale, you're going to take that left leg, pull that knee in so it's facing the mat. And then as you exhale, you're going to extend the left leg out to the side using the glute. And then exhale, lower it down. Same thing on the opposite side. Inhale, step the left foot in the center line. Extend the right foot back behind you, press back through the right heel, point down with the toes. And then maybe moving a little bit faster on the side, stacking that right hip on top of the left, pressing through the right heel. Feeling the upper leg muscles engage as you exhale and drop that right heel toward the left glute. And then inhale, roll that right knee back down. As you exhale, extend that right leg out to the side, and then release. When you inhale, shift your gaze forward. Step that left foot in, drop the right knee down. And then you're going to start to work on stability first. So if your right knee is comfortable on the mat, you're going to keep it right there. If you need to double roll your mat or use the blanket, feel free to do that. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to curl the right toes under and press back through the right heel. And then if you imagine that there's an energetic action from the outer left hip and the outer right hip. And if I were to turn, face this way, that movement is pulling everything into the center line. And when they meet in the center, those muscles, so the left hamstrings, the right quad and the right hip flexor start to engage and flex. So it feels like those muscles are working. They should be working because we're working on stability here instead of mobility where you just drop right down. And then you want to find the core, so you want to pull the low belly into the front of the spine. Keep working the hamstrings, the quad, and the hip flexor. Shoulders down and back. And then maybe you stay for an inhale. And then now when you exhale, you're going to find that little bit of mobility, flexibility, release those muscle engagements. So from the side, it looks like after you've engaged all those muscles, the pelvis sinks straight down into the mat. And then you release the hamstring, the quad, and the hip flexor. And then you might stay for a breath or two. And then we'll switch sides. So you're going to step back with the left foot. And inhale, step the right foot forward. Drop the left knee down. You're going to curl those left toes under and find the right knee over top of the right ankle. Start to engage the right hamstring. Press back through the left heel and use that to engage that left quad and the left hip flexor. Pull the core off the top of the thigh. So low belly moves away, shoulders down and back. You should feel like there's work happening in the muscles. You might stay for 3 to 5 breaths is what I would probably do. And then when you exhale, after those 3 to 5 breaths, you're going to sink the pelvis straight down into the mat, allowing those muscles to relax and release. Shoulders down and back still. And then when you finish, plant the hands. Pick up with the left leg and step back with the right. When you exhale, drop the knees down. And then let's just roll over to one side. So I'm rolling over onto my right side. And you're going to lay down on the mat so that your right forearm can support you. And extend those legs out. And then you're going to plant down through that right foot. So the pinky edge of the right foot is really engaged and the heel is pressing away from you. And then when you inhale, you're going to take your left hand on top of the left hip and just start to hover that left leg. When you exhale, you're going to turn the toes down, press back through that heel, and start to move that big toe down toward the mat. So eventually, you're pulling that left hip up and in enough that that toe comes on the inside of the right, using the strength of the glute. And then when you inhale, you might do that 5 to 10 times. You're going to push back, using the strength of the glute to do this work. Using the flexion in the left quad. And then maybe you continue to use that left glute to pull the left heel in. And then angle that thigh bone up and away from you. And then you're going to pull back. And again, 5 to 10 times with each of these, and then release. And then you would do the opposite side. And we're going to finish with a glute bridge. So you're going to lower down on the mat, walk your heels in, but not as close as you would probably for a yoga bridge. You want to be able to use the glute muscles to lift yourself up. So when you inhale, you're going to just slowly peel those hips off the mat using the strength of the glute. And then squeezing, like contracting the glute muscles in and lowering back down. So just for reference, the difference would be yoga bridge, hips up, shoulders under, thighs high. Glute bridge, doesn't really matter how high up your hips go. You want to be able to use the strength of the glutes. And we're isolating into the glute muscle here. As you lift up, and then as you lift back down. And again, 5 to 10 times. And then depending on if your muscles are tight before or after, you could use a foam roller. And I would probably roll out the muscle groups that we just worked, so hamstrings. And spend a little bit of time rolling out the hamstrings, so rocking from side to side, maybe forward folding a little bit. And probably a minute or so, and then work my way up to the glutes. So if I'm working the right glute, I'm going to cross the left foot over top of that right thigh bone and roll from side to side, rock back and forth. If you have a lacrosse ball, you could use a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball in this spot too. And then I would switch and do the side of the hip. So angle that roller at about a 45 along the quad muscle. And so here you just kind of find there's a sweet spot right underneath the hip bone on the top of the femur bone. And you're looking for that spot, and I would just apply a little bit of pressure and hold. So that's an insertion point for a lot of tissues and tendons. And then eventually work that roller up to the quad muscle. So pulling the heel into the glute. And spending a little bit of time on the front of the muscle, the side of the muscle, and then the inside. And each time pulling the heel in toward the glute when you find those spaces that feel tight or tense. And maybe a minute to 30 seconds of all of those, and then do both sides.